Okay, as we mentioned many times, and the Talmud says, greatest charity, for it hastens the redemption. So if you're watching at home, please make sure you do the same. Okay. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. The chapter Tavkuf Tzadik, Siman Tavkuf Tzadik, chapter 590. Chapter 590 in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch is more on the complex side. We're not going to get into all the intricacies. We're going to give a brief overview somewhat. And my goal with this is one particular point, which I'll talk about soon. Okay. Chapter 590, the Alter Rebbe goes into at length and in detail the proper procedure for blowing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. What's the big deal? Take the shofar. There was another sound there. All right. Okay, sounds good enough. 2 sounds, 3 sounds. What's the big difference? You're hearing the shofar, right? Wrong. Let's see. Law number 1. Now, there's 21 laws in this, but we're going to just start off the first one just to see where it's going. There is a very, very detailed and nuanced way to blow the shofar, the way it has to be blown, and if it's done slightly off, it can be completely invalid. Okay. Let's just dip our feet into this a little bit. Kamot kiyos chayav adam lishmaya b'Rosh Hashanah. How many shofar sounds is a person obligated to hear on Rosh Hashanah? Again, this is not just some nice custom that we have, that we hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah because we eat apple and honey, it's a beautiful custom. We wish each other a sweet new year, it's a beautiful custom. We hear shofar, no. Shofar is a biblical commandment. Hashem records in his Torah, he tells the Jewish people he wants that they should hear the shofar being blown in a particular fashion on Rosh Hashanah. When you hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, you're fulfilling the will of the King of Kings, the God, the creator of the universe. How many shofar blasts, shofar sounds must one hear on Rosh Hashanah? Take a guess. Yeah, it's anywhere between 1 and 1,000,000. Gotta be one of those numbers, right? The answer is 9. 9, okay? As we'll see, 9 doesn't actually mean 9, but as for right now, 9 means 9. Tesha, 9. And the sounds are tarat, 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 which is, they're a bunch of acronyms. It's tekiya, teruah, tekiya. Tekiya is one type of sound. Teruah is another type of sound. Okay? And then followed by a tekiya again. So it's tekiya, teruah, tekiya, 3 times. And the acronym for that is tarat, tarat, tarat. Tekiya, teruah, tekiya, 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 tekiya. Why? Lefisha shalish pa'amim teruah nemer b'Torah. Because the Torah mentions the word teruah, or the idea of teruah, which is one of those sounds, 3 times. Shnayim b'Rosh Hashanah, ve'echad b'Yom Kippurim she'yovel. It says the shofar sound called the teruah. It mentions it twice in context of Rosh Hashanah, and it mentions it once in the context of Yom Kippur, which is in the Yovel year, the Jubilee year, which is every 50 years. There's a shofar that has to be blown on that particular Yom Kippur. So it says it 3 times. Umipi hashmuel lamdu shehein lemedin zemizeh. And we learn from the oral tradition, we learn this, that God told this to Moses told this to all the elders and passed it on to the Jewish people, that these 3 times that it says the word teruah, the idea of teruah, they are interconnected. You learn one from the other. There's like a telephone line connecting all 3 of them. Ulekach, and therefore, the way we look at this is as if when it says the word teruah, for example, by the first time it mentions in the context of Rosh Hashanah, we look at it as if all 3 times are written there. We don't look at it as if just that one time is written there. We look at that the other 2 times, the other time by Rosh Hashanah and the one by Yom Kippur of the Jubilee year, are both the other 2 are written also right near this one, in the same spot in the Torah. And so to the second time it's mentioned, so to the third time it's mentioned. So in essentially, we looked at it as if it is written there 9 times. Because it's written 3 times here, 3 times here, and 3 times here. והנה נקראים תקיע סתם, שנאמר ועברתו שופר תרועה, משמע שצריך להעביר כל פשוט, ואחר כך תהיה תרועה. לא שוועברת משמע העבורס כל פשוט. Now, when you sound a teruah sound, it has to be sandwiched between two tekiah sounds. Which the author is saying that the tekiah sound is called a peshuta. It's a simple sound. There's no complications. It's not up and down. It's not a bunch of little broken sounds. It's one simple blast. Okay, that's the tekiah. So it has to be sandwiched. As the pasuk says, the verse says, "V'havarto shofar teruah." You shall pass the shofar, a teruah sound. That the wording indicates, the word passing indicates that that the exact details we're not getting into, but the teruah has to be sandwiched before and after with a tekiah. Okay, fine. That's the gist. Okay, so you have to hear 9 sounds. Actually, how many sounds are we up to so far? One second. I missed something up in that calculation over there, but essentially it's 9 sounds. It's 3 times the teruah, and each one has a tekiah before it and after it. So altogether that's 9. How we got there, I wasn't so clear on that apparently. Okay. Now, the Alter said that the tekiah is a pshuta, it's a simple sound. Simple blast. Okay. What is the middle sound, the teruah? So in law number 2, there's 2 ways to look at it. Either it's, actually there's 3 ways to look at it. Either it is the sound of someone groaning out of pain and sadness. It's like, this is how the teachers, when they do this, they have fun. Or it could be more of like somebody who's hysterically crying, that there's like a very, or it could be both together. First the slower one and then the faster one. Being that there's this doubt involved, the sages instituted that to absolve all doubts, the shofar must be blown. Okay. How are we gonna do this? First tekiah, then the teruah, which is both sounds together, the slower one and the faster one, followed by a tekiah, the simple blast, and you do that 2 more times because you're supposed to make 9 sounds. Then we do it again, but we do it this time the tekiah followed by the teruah, which is going to be the slower version of it, followed by a tekiah, and that's repeated 2 more times as well. And then you do it a third time, a third round, where you blow the tekiah, then the fast-paced one, then a tekiah again, and you repeat that 2 more times as well. Altogether, you're blowing a total of 30 sounds. 30, okay? The length of the sounds, how long they have to be. If they're too long, if you make a teruah too long, it can sound like a tekiah and it's not valid. If you make the tekiah too short, it can sound like a teruah and that's also not valid. There's discussion over here about when you do the 2 together of the teruah, you do the slower one and the fast one. Do you need to make an interruption between the 2? Okay, and even if you do need to make an interruption, should that be a sound interruption, but also a breath interruption? Do you need to take a new breath between those 2 sounds? Or are we looking at them as one sound? All this information is taken into account. There's much more than this, than what I'm saying here. And also, if you're blowing and you make a mistake, you're blowing in one set and you start blowing a sound from another set, what do you do then? You start over, you continue on as if nothing happened. It's really not so simple, which is why, this is the point I wanted to get at, it has become normal in many places where if somebody knows how to physically blow the shofar, they can put it on their mouth and then blow that sound, or any of the sounds, they have now become a professional shofar blower. And they know how to make it. Perfect, done. You put him up on top and he blows the sounds, everyone goes, wow, beautiful, thank you so much. You have to make sure that when you hear the shofar on a show, you're hearing it from somebody who learned these laws thoroughly, and they know what they're supposed to be doing. Because the littlest sound that's slightly off, which you won't know that it's off, but the person who learned these laws properly will know that there's something off. You make the whole thing not kosher. You listen to a shofar on Hashanah, you didn't fulfill this mitzvah. It's a very important thing that you make sure you hear it from somebody who actually thoroughly learned through the laws and knows what they're doing. With that, I wish you a good night. And I will give you a heads up. Tomorrow night is going to be the last class of our summer season classes. If you enjoyed this content, please give a thumbs up, comment. If you want more of such content, let us know. Have a great night. Again, tomorrow will be the last class. God willing.